Japanese in 3 months, day number 12. Quick update. So, what I've been doing today is lots of memorization of vocabulary, some listening as well when I was doing a bunch of other stuff, going out for a walk, a bunch of other stuff I knew doing, just listening to the audio files I've been creating. And I've done 1000 reps of shadowing. How do I do that? Well, the audio files have each sentence, some of the audio files have each sentence repeated 5 times. So I know exactly what's going to be said next. So I just speak along with it. And 1000 of them is 200 sentences repeated 5 times, which is not that much. It's an hour or so of listening and repeating, maybe even less, because these sentences at this stage are quite short. And yeah, it's also pretty fast. Japanese is fast. So it took me less than an hour to do that. So 314 associations, which is a lot, but because there was a user in the comments that recommended a bunch of YouTube channels, podcasts, things like that, and I've started listening to some of them. And the thing is that you need to know a lot of vocabulary to understand those. Not only that, you need to know pronunciation really well as well, because otherwise, even if you know the words, if you can't understand them in context, in connected speech, you will not understand, right? So you need pronunciation as well, but you need the words. If you don't know the words, you will not understand. So I've been doing a lot of memorization of vocabulary from the transcripts, and that way, even if it's still difficult at this stage, it's slightly more possible, makes it more likely that I recognize words in context when I'm listening. I always memorize the vocab before I listen to the thing, not the other way around. And I don't stop the audio file or the video or whatever, audio more than video, because video is slow and audio, you can listen to it while doing something else. I don't stop it to check the vocabulary, to look up words, anything like that, because that's something I've already done. I've looked up the whole vocabulary list before, so that then when I'm listening, I understand more. I still don't understand much, but in a couple of weeks, I'll probably understand way more. No, probably for sure. So a lot of memorization with that, and language islands, right? More language islands. Practice the ones I've already created. Hundreds of sentences. These are my language islands, by the way. But this is the way I do it. Pick a topic, travel in this case, and write a bunch of stuff for conversation, things that I'll probably say or that I will be asked, so I know how to respond to that. And then I translate it. Here I've got the text for as reference, and then here's the Japanese. It's 5 times, so that it's 5 times. Okay. So that then the audio file has this sentence: "Ryoku wa shidika desu suki? Ryoku wa suki desu ka?" I've got that 5 times. I repeat it 5 times. Repeat the next one 5 times. So I get used to saying them over and over. So um, this is a language island. There are different types of language islands. Someone asked me how many language islands. Not how many sentences. How many actual language islands? Group of sentences you create. A language island is not a sentence; it's a group of sentences. And I said loads, loads of them, and the more the better. And ideally, it should be like a flowchart where, for your language islands to be effective, it should be like a flowchart where you have different options, topics for conversation, and then for each one of those, you should have more options. You should just expand into more and more options, right? So if someone asks me about traveling, I'll have all of this that I've learned about. Do I travel often? Do where do I go when I travel? Do I like traveling? Blah blah blah. Um, yeah, I like traveling. You don't like traveling? You see, there's a lot of repetition in this, so they're pretty easy to learn. They're good for. There's not a lot of vocabulary here, I mean, compared to other things, yeah, you still learn lots of words, but not as much as memorizing from transcripts or things like that. But you still learn vocab. But there's lots of repetition, and they're very good to learn grammar patterns because you simulate a conversation, and if the language element is good, you'll prepare different options for the same conversation. So I like traveling. Do you like traveling? Oh, you don't like traveling, and yeah, I travel a lot. You don't travel much? And actually, I should probably write that as well. Not anymore because now I just mess things up because I just created the other files. But anyway, you get the idea. Like, you need lots of related sentences so that the vocabulary is easy because it's similar in all of them, and you learn the sentences by heart through shadowing. Just listen and repeat over and over and over. And you can create flashcards for this as well. That's a good way to learn. But for the most part, just lots of listening and repeating with this, and then extra listening. And you see, I've got 500 of them here, and I just started. This is week 2 still. So by the end of the 3 months, I'll have thousands. I don't know. I think I'm going to create more language islands for Japanese than for any other language before. So probably, I don't know if 10,000 language islands, but a lot. Um, Probably at least 2,000, probably over 5,000, and maybe even more. I'll try to create loads and loads of them. So it should expand like this. So you get a topic. So the most common things we normally talk about are ourselves, personal information when you meet people at least. And depends on the context, right? But at work you talk about something else. But you get the idea. When you start a conversation, you talk about yourself, talk about your work, you talk about the things you like, and first you prepare language islands for those, and then for each one of those things you prepare more language islands. So do you have you lived abroad? Lived abroad for years, blah blah. And then I can create a language island about each one of the places I've been to on holiday, or I've been to for work, or I've lived in, or I spent time, or I'd like to go. And that's already how many language islands, how many countries there are. I mean, I don't want to go to each and every one of them, but um, yeah, you get the idea. So easily, it's over 30 language islands just with that. Um, Start talking about most of the countries in Europe. Um, yeah, that I've been to almost all of them, and the ones I haven't been to, I want to go to. So I can also write a language island about that. One about China, one about Korea, one about Japan, blah blah blah. That's already dozens of language islands. Then languages I've learned. I like learning languages. I learn languages fast. I know how to learn languages fast. Blah 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 blah. I like learning languages, but then from there, you go to specific languages and you write a language island about every language. Or I do that. You don't do that because you are not me, but you do it with the things that you're interested in or that you talk about and work and my current work, but also all the jobs I've done in the past, all the places I worked in. Uh, for each one of them, a language island, and you learn them. Yeah, you create the audio files, you shadow them, and you can also, in fact, no, can, you can and should do retrieval practice with this. After shadowing them for a while, yeah, Ryoku wa suki desu ka? Ryoku wa suki desu. Ryoku wa suki de, I haven't shadowed them much, so in fact, I just did it one round, so I don't. Ryoku wa suki de wanai desu ka? 私はよく努力します。But once you've done it, I think I did 5 rounds, 5 reps of each sentence. Once I've done 20 or 30 reps of each sentence, I'll be able to say them very well with a decent accent, and I'll remember most of it pretty easily. And then you just come here and you do retrieval practice. You could do it with flashcards as well. In fact, I should probably do it with flashcards so that I'm not on my computer all day. Instead of my computer, I can be on my phone instead. So, but anyway, you look at this and do like traveling, and Ryoku wa suki desu ka? Okay, got it. Ryoku wa suki desu. Uh, I don't know. I don't know this one. Ryoku wa suki de wanai desu ka? And you translate watashi wa yoku ryoku shimasu. You look at this, you translate, you say it aloud, and you then check. And if you made a mistake, you repeat it aloud correctly this time. This is not uh, obviously you want to learn pronunciation by doing this because you're not listening to them unless you if you find out you figure out some way to add uh, audio to this, maybe then that'd be great. That'd be perfect. In fact, it'd be the perfect. No, nothing's the perfect learning exercise, but it'd be close to perfect. But combine this with uh, shadowing. That's the perfect speaking exercise, in my opinion. You with retrieval practice, so translating and then getting the feedback. So you're thinking in the language, you're saying it aloud, you're practicing saying things, um, and then you're getting feedback, so you're getting corrected. That's perfect for fluency and for accuracy. You're correcting your mistakes, and then lots of shadowing. It's great to also for fluency because you're repeating things fast and all the time, so it becomes easier and easier to say things, but also for pronunciation. If you shadow a lot, your pronunciation gets better. So that's it. This is how you do language islands, and it's something that a lot of people avoid because it's quite a lot of work writing them. But every minute you spend writing and creating language islands will save you hours of learning. This is infinitely more efficient time wise than learning with videos and comprehensible input and things like this. If you want to speak well, this is well worth the investment. Just create these lists. They need to be good, and there needs to be a lot of content. The people who take the time and create good language islands and long lists of sentences about basically everything, they end up improving the speaking very, very fast. People who are lazy and don't follow the advice and they don't create language islands, they often improve the comprehension and the speaking, yeah, gets a little bit better eventually, but nowhere near as fast as the people who are using this. It's hard work. It's it's deliberate practice. It's training, but it's extremely effective if your goal is to speak the language fluently. So these are language islands. I highly recommend you to create your list, 500 to 1,000 at least. More would be better. But even if you create 50 of them, 100 of them, it will still have an impact if you practice them afterwards with shadowing and retrieval practice. So this is my advice. Language islands for any language really. And the best thing is if you want to learn multiple languages, you can create. You just have to create them once, and then you can just translate them into like you learn in Spanish and then you want to learn Portuguese. And you translate your Spanish language islands into Portuguese, exact same text, and you learn the exact same lines in another language with different audio. You already know what they mean, what you're saying. You're familiar with the sentences, so it's going to be very fast. They're very efficient for learning multiple languages, right? So this is if you're going to apply anything that I teach here, it should be this language islands and shadowing combined and retrieval. Okay, you should apply a lot of things. Language islands combined with retrieval practice and shadowing, and then memorization with associations for to learn lots of vocab fast. Yeah, associations will massively increase your vocab, and without vocab you can't understand or speak. And this will help your speaking a lot, but also your comprehension if you're doing the shadowing. Anyway, that was the update for today. Like I said, lots of associations. I'm trying to get my comprehension to a level where I can listen to native speaker content and understand enough to enjoy it. I've been listening to the same sentences over and over for now. Less so with the native speaker materials because I can't understand much yet. And then lots of shadowing, which is really important for speaking. That's the update. See you tomorrow with more Japanese. Any questions? Let me know. And remember that all these materials are available in through the link below in the description.